say that, you know what? I don't care who you say you are. I don't care how spiritual you say you are. But if anyone can make you so angry that they move you from your center, they push you off from your solid ground, they have you all worked up inside by the very thought of their name or their presence, they can make you act in a manner that is detrimental to your own nature. I'm sorry to tell you, you are a slave. You are not a free man. You're not a free woman. And that you have a handler with a remote control to your emotions. And just like a puppet, they only need to point that remote control in your direction. And straight away, you suddenly become exactly what you're not. You flare up. You lose control. You scream and you shout and you fight and tuggle. They have full control over you and you become their slave. This is not spirituality. The irony is that you may not have even seen them in years. It's something that happened decades ago, but you've been carrying it in your soul. And just the thought of them irks you, so much so that it can bring up bad blood that's flowing into your veins. You can be the Pope. You can be a priest. You can be the king, a driver or a cook. And yet, you're a slave to these emotions because you cannot control yourself. When faced with these thoughts, you become something that you're not supposed to be. You can be as spiritual as you want to be, or even be in direct communication with angels above. But if you can't control your emotions, you're like a loose animal in a zoo. No one knows for certain what you're going to do next. Are you going to start dancing or are you going to start biting? You create these forms, these entities, these minions that just follow you around. And as soon as someone pushes your button or presses play on that remote control, hey, we see you. You lose yourself. And your minions get fed through the process. They're happily cheering you on to do something that you will end up regretting. They take control of you and use you as their tool. When we say that someone is drunk and we say they're under the influence, why do we never ask ourselves, under the influence of what? It's those forms and those entities that are there trying to use you as a tool, cheering you on to do things. Forget spirituality. This is emotional intelligence 1.0. This is the ability to make sure that no one throws you out of character, that no one has a remote control to your emotions, and you can remain calm and focused and centered, knowing who you are and the amount of work that you have done on yourself. You are not achieving any spiritual growth if you can't apply simple emotional intelligence to every moment that presents itself for you to deal with. Because life will throw so much at you. And I've seen grown men, powerful, respected in society, they lose themselves because they've allowed their lowest self to control them. And those entities attached to their emotions are there, urging them on. I've seen beautiful people full of anger, full of jealousy and hatred and envy to the point where they want to do something about it, which ultimately leads to their fellow human beings being hurt. You know when they say two elephants are fighting without taking into account all the little animals and the grass that is around them that will get hurt in the process. If you look closely at these people, they have big heads. And I always say big head, big egos. This is where the intellect lives. And yet, we must resist. We must hold nothing that would bind us to our fellow human beings. Your garment must be washed clean. And that is why Christ said that you must die to be reborn. He didn't mean that you must die a physical death first. He meant that lowest part of you, the one that seeks to control you, you must do away with it. That intellectual part that wants to hold you down and doesn't allow you to come into your light as an intuitive being so that you can come into your true self, free and liberated, not bound by the emotions that others are able to stir up in you, but always looking up in calm confidence, knowing that everything, every experience is leading you to your highest self, to your spiritual growth if you can allow it. So, like everything else, your anger, greed, envy, hatred, all these emotions, they take on form and attach themselves to you like invisible threads, staining the garment of your spirit. So there's no spirituality, I'm afraid, until step by step you can do away with these emotions so that even the worst experiences that you have with your fellow human beings, you'll end up looking at them and saying, what is wrong with you? You'll be laughing about it and say, wow, it's so good to know that there are still people like this teaching you how you should be. Even better, to know how not to be and to find a different path that's better than that. So let's stop thinking that spirituality is this mysterious practice that you engage in one corner of your bedroom, when in truth, it's an everyday way of life where you practice less ego, more intuition, where you have self-control, empathy, and compassion for the next person, where that annoying driver that's driving in front of you shows you what patience truly means. And that work colleague of yours that you are always envious of, who you don't particularly like, they actually show you the envy and the hatred that you carry inside. That is spirituality, showing you your triggers and what you still need to work on, not letting you think that it's some mysterious practice. So don't let anger give birth to minions and entities that will follow you around. Don't let anyone handle your remote control. Be your own handler. Don't be a slave to your weaknesses and your vices. Be centered. Be free. And amongst other things, as I always say to you, be gentle with yourself and each other. Bye for now.